Listen, I am not a Star Wars fan. The Star Wars franchise takes a lot of L's, and it's only getting worse the longer you look at what they've been doing with the mainline trilogies. But man, sometimes a trailer just hits you in such a way that even your grotesque ambivalence for an uber-milk Disney project, that you just can't not get excited about it. I could not care less about modern mainline Star Wars content. But side stuff? Yeah, I think sometimes I can get into it. Mandalorian, sign me up. The worlds and creatures are fascinating. Oddly enough, I prefer Star Wars more without the RGB wizards most of the time. But then there's Star Wars Visions, probably the most juxtapository production I can imagine, combining the most shallow corporate formula fest held by the eraser tool of an entertainment conglomerate, and mixing it with the pure heart and joy and artistic prowess of animation studios from exterior sources. Star Wars Visions' entire gimmick is that it's an anthology series set within the Star Wars universe. None of the episodes are attached to each other and are just individual shorts per episode. And what's more, every single one is handled by a different animation studio.
I saw it myself. She has special powers.
For the first season, it was all about anime. You had Studio Trigger creating the masterpiece of twin Sith clashing against each other. You had this brooding black and white samurai tale from Kamikaze Doga. And also a concert story from Jabba the Hutt's son. The point is, it's a variety piece, coming from all sorts of animation style, thematic tones, and corners of the Star Wars universe. It is the idea of Star Wars better presented and fleshed out in a way that Disney could only dream of doing themselves. And it is a love letter from each and every studio to work on this project and lay out their best ideas into this collaboratory project. I am just enamored with the sheer idea of this series, and now they're making a second season. From a whole new set of 9 animation studios too. Whilst the original focused on the world of anime and hopped between different designs and styles of different anime styles, this time they've taken a more broad approach by approaching studios from all across the globe.
It's showtime.
And of course the one I have got to gush about is Aardman Animation, representing Britain. The same guys behind Wallace and Gromit and Flushed Away. They have such a distinct style, being claymation and British and incredibly comedic. And though they're certainly not an underdog in comparison to all the animation studios across the globe, or even on the list for this season of Star Wars Vision, I cannot understate my excitement to see this studio take a stab at this big shot Star Wars project. Aardman's whole shtick as well is all about some unique British representation. We've covered a couple of their movies in the past, but one feature that's very clear from their filmography is their presence of non-typical British accents. Never before have I heard a northerner in the Star Wars universe, to my knowledge, but now...
Can you get your porta potty off the starting line?
I can say that I feel a bit more realised in that world. What's also great to see is that from what little footage we have seen from Aardman's episodes so far, it is clear that they have doubled down on the comedic approach that comes so naturally to them. Star Wars is pretty serious and only funny when it isn't meant to be or where it doesn't really work.
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
And though the last season of Star Wars Vision is still, in my opinion, some of the best we've seen Star Wars at, it was also a whole bunch of big anime dramas, and very little on the light-hearted fun romp. But Aardman, they've clearly got us all covered.
She's a total... Exactly.
And clearly I am not alone in my excitement for this studio in particular, judging by the headlines I've been seeing about this season announcement. Although maybe that's just some British bias I'm seeing in the news, judging by where I obviously reside. I mean, literally on the day that I'm recording this script, I am walking past one of the main Aardman studios where they actually do their animation work over in Bristol. Anyway, these guys are the representatives from the United Kingdom, but also featured on the global setlist is Cartoon Saloon from Ireland, known for The Secret of Kells. There's 88 Pictures from India, Studio La Cachette from France, Punk Robot from Chile, Studio Mir from South Korea, notable for working on Legend of Korra and Harley Quinn, cool. There's Lucasfilms, of course, doing an episode from the US, Dart Citagio from Japan, and Triggerfish from South Africa, whose accolades include Adventures in Zambezia and Kizazimoto.
Fight them! I'm strong enough now!
Needless to say, I don't have all this in my general knowledge of animation studios, though I should totally do my research more into each of them. This is entirely up my alley. But what I don't know myself, I can witness for myself. While I'm endlessly rooting for Aardman's success to see some humor and British accents in the Star Wars world, there's also all sorts of commenters I've seen propping up their favorite animation studios, as these aren't always the easy picks from each country. From the sounds of things, there are some notable underdogs in the crew that fans are ecstatic have been given the opportunity to make an official Star Wars short like this. And I, for one, cannot wait to see what comes out of all these different regional experiences that will undoubtedly shape the direction for many of these upcoming Star Wars Vision episodes. And in sticking with that lucky date theming, this new series of course releases on May the 4th. So just a couple weeks from now. I absolutely love the concept of anthology series. I love the variety of storytelling elements that come to display, as well as the fact that there's no pressure to connect to some overarching prompt. But having such an open-ended idea released with full creative freedom to do whatever you want allows for such interesting and never-before-seen territory to be breached. The first season alone introduced so many incredible ideas and plot beats to see unfold, and to have that magic come back again is something truly special. It's ironic, I think Star Wars is at its best when it's doing the least Star Wars job. When it's not making a mainline trilogy, when it's not connecting to an overarching plot, and when it's created by people other than those at the very epicenter of Disney. That is when Star Wars really shines. As a dystopian sci-fi world, it makes sense for people more on the ground to be producing the correct vibe, tone, and exploration of the franchise's universe, as opposed to the super detergent, clean conglomerate that's lost its artistic integrity to the obsessive tailing of multi-billion profits. Give me Star Wars without the Jedi, show me the world down to the ground, or give me a spin-off short that has no attachment issues to the larger picture of the confusing, fantastical mess. There is little I enjoy more from Star Wars than the original Star Wars Vision season, and it is a blessing to be able to repeat this experience again, this time with a little more me mixed into the tale, and I for one cannot wait. But let me know your thoughts. Have I just thrown my public image into the fires for trashing the core of Star Wars, or are other people similarly fatigued and relieved to see something new from the Super Saga? Or maybe you hate Visions too. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts. And maybe if this video gets enough traction, we'll do some breakdowns of individual episodes if anyone's interested. For now, I think I'll end it off here. My name's been Dazz, you didn't really care, and I'll see you in a bit.